All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep
Yeah.
into the world of Kerry K.
Oh, yeah.
She's a spiritual teacher with some seriously unique ideas about consciousness.
I've been looking forward to this one.
Me too. Especially after, learning about her background.
No, yeah, with the illnesses.
Yeah, and the near-death experiences.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff, but it really shaped her path.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to try to understand it all today. We've
Right.
got a podcast interview with her
Okay.
and some content from her website.
Got it.
So we're going to piece it all together.
I love it.
Yeah, so one of the things that really struck me right off the bat
Yeah.
is that her journey,
Oh, okay.
it's not like those sudden awakening stories you hear all the time.
All right, right. Like a bolt of lightning kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's totally.
It's like she always had this connection
Mm,
to the spiritual realm.
that's interesting.
Like it was always there.
Can you imagine?
Living
Oh,
like that, what would that even feel like?
That's a great question.
Right.
Yeah.
To just always be aware of that other dimension.
Yeah, and that really changes how we think about illness, I think.
Totally.
Because, we usually see illness as like this negative thing.
Of course, a setback.
A setback, yeah.
Yeah.
But she actually describes it as like a doorway
Oh, wow.
to a deeper spiritual understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like a roadblock. It's like,
It's like an invitation almost.
yeah, an invitation.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and she actually talks about spending a lot of her childhood
Okay.
going back and forth between dimensions,
Wow.
encountering angelic beings.
Like what?
Yeah, she even talks about tapping into what she calls
Okay.
the heart mind of God.
Whoa.
It's a lot.
Okay, so I need to back up for a second.
Sure.
Angelic beings.
Yeah.
What do you think that even means?
Well, hard to say for sure,
Right.
but it sounds like she's describing some kind of higher dimensional beings,
Hmm.
Maybe guides or protectors.
Okay, and what about this heart mind of God?
That's a really interesting concept.
Right.
Yeah. She describes it as like a source of pure consciousness, like the origin of everything.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Because she's like a kid having these experiences.
It's wild. I can't even imagine.
And one of the things she talks about
Yeah.
is encountering these pre-consciousness states.
What does that even mean?
Like, it's the raw stuff of existence
Okay.
before it forms into thoughts and feelings.
So like the building blocks of reality.
Yeah, almost like she was witnessing creation itself.
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this like astral projection
It could be.
or like an out-of-body experience?
Yeah, I mean, those are concepts you find in a lot of different spiritual traditions.
Right.
And Kerry K's experiences seem to fit that description.
Okay.
The idea that consciousness isn't limited to our physical bodies.
Right.
It's a powerful idea.
It is. And I mean, think about it. She's going back and forth.
Between these amazing spiritual realms and then coming back to everyday life.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine trying to explain that to somebody.
Yeah, for real.
And she talks about this challenge
Yeah.
of coming back to her physical body
Right.
after these experiences.
Gotta be tough.
And then the way she describes her illnesses, it's like,
What does she say?
she says,
Yeah.
it was never terrible. I got to sit in the hospital and go to God. That was a phenomenal blessing.
So she's saying illness was a blessing.
Yeah.
How do you even wrap your head around that?
Right.
It seems paradoxical.
Totally. Because we think of illness as something to avoid at all costs.
Yeah, as suffering.
Right, like it's the enemy.
Exactly.
But she's suggesting that it can actually be a catalyst for spiritual growth.
Like it pushes you to confront those big questions about life and death and meaning.
So instead of fearing it,
Yeah.
maybe we can learn from it.
Exactly. And I think that's a really radical way of thinking about it.
It is. And it makes you think, what does this mean for healing?
Yeah.
Not just physical healing, but emotional and spiritual healing too.
Right. Because is healing just about fixing the body?
Right.
Or is it also about integrating these profound spiritual experiences
Yeah.
into our everyday lives?
That's a great point, because after having these experiences, she describes, how do you go back to
Yeah.
normal life?
Right. How do you go back to paying bills and doing laundry when you had a glimpse of something so much bigger?
Exactly. And that's kind of what she's doing now, right?
Yeah, she's not just sharing her experiences, but
Yeah.
she's trying to help other people navigate
Cool.
their own journeys of spiritual awakening.
So how does she do that?
Well, she's created this thing called the Plasma Light Tribe.
Oh, I saw that on her website.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like an online community
Okay.
with weekly live calls.
So like a group coaching kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Cool.
And they have this huge library of past calls. Oh, wow. So you can, like, catch up.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Oh.
And then there's this whole meditation room.
Oh, wow. A virtual meditation room.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so they offer all these different resources.
Yeah, and it's all built around this idea of
Okay.
accelerating your evolution of consciousness.
Now that sounds intense.
Yeah, it is.
But, I mean, it's kind of what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
This idea that we can evolve our consciousness.
Right, and that maybe illness can even be part of that process.
Yes, it's like reframing the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, this is a lot to think about.
It is.
But I'm definitely intrigued.
Me too. I think there's a lot more to unpack here.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
before we go any further,
Yeah.
maybe we should, try to understand what Kerry K even means
Right.
by ascension.
Okay.
And this, shift from 3D to 5D consciousness.
Yeah, because that's kind of like out there.
It could sound really abstract.
Totally.
So how do we make it more, tangible? Yeah, what does that even look like
Right.
in everyday life?
Exactly. And is it like
Okay.
a sudden thing?
Right.
Like a bolt of lightning?
Yeah, you just suddenly become enlightened.
Yeah, or is it more of a gradual process?
Okay.
From what I'm getting, it seems like it's more about
Yeah.
expanding your awareness.
Okay.
And aligning with a higher vibrational frequency.
So it's not one big moment.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Okay, but then how do you actually do that?
Right.
Are there specific practices?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like meditation or
Yeah, it could be.
energy work or something?
It could be, and that's where I think
Okay.
her teachings and offerings come in.
Okay.
Remember that plasma light tribe we were talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like it's designed to support people
Okay.
on this path.
Okay, so it's like a community,
Yeah,
and they offer tools and techniques.
exactly. They have guided meditations and energy healing sessions.
Okay.
And, just the support of other people. Oh, so it's like you're not alone.
Right, exactly.
So it's about finding the practices that work for you
Yeah,
and using them to cultivate this higher state of consciousness.
exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
She doesn't just talk about this as a personal transformation.
Okay.
She believes it's happening on a collective level too.
Oh, wow.
As more and more people wake up,
Okay.
it creates a ripple effect
Interesting.
that can transform the world.
So it's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. I like that.
It's a pretty optimistic outlook.
It is, but I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be on board with this whole ascension thing, right?
Sure.
Some people are going to think it's way too out there.
Totally. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Not everyone has to resonate with it.
Right.
Spirituality is personal.
Yeah.
There's no one size fits all.
That's a good point.
It's about finding what works for you
Right.
and respecting other people's beliefs.
Even if they're different from your own.
Yeah, that's important.
And speaking of different perspectives,
Okay.
I noticed on her website, she talks about
Yeah.
being interviewed by a bunch of different podcasters.
Yeah, she did mention that.
And she says,
Yeah.
each interview brings out something different in her.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it shows how she's willing to, meet people where they are
Yeah.
and adapt her message.
To different audiences.
Exactly.
So, it's not just one fixed thing.
Right.
It's, fluid.
It's fluid, yeah. And I think that highlights
Yeah.
how important it is to look at different sources.
Right.
Don't just rely on, one interview or one website
Right.
to form your own opinion.
Okay.
Explore different viewpoints.
Yeah.
And see what resonates with you.
That's good advice for any deep dive we do.
It is.
Yeah.
Don't just take one source as the absolute truth.
Right.
Do your own research.
Yeah, think critically.
Exactly, especially when we're talking about stuff like this.
Right, spirituality and consciousness.
There's so much information out there.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
You really do.
So where does all this leave us with Kerry K?
Yeah, what are the key takeaways
Yeah.
from her story and her teachings?
Wow.
I think there are a few things we can highlight.
Okay.
First, her journey shows us that illness
Yeah.
can be a catalyst for growth.
That's a big one.
It is.
It really challenges us to rethink how we view suffering,
Exactly, and to see the potential for transformation.
even in the midst of adversity.
Right. It's not about ignoring the pain or
No.
pretending it's not there.
Yeah.
But it's about recognizing that something deeper
Okay.
can emerge from those experiences.
I like that.
Yeah. And second,
Okay.
Kerry K's teachings really emphasize the
Yeah.
importance of integrating these experiences
Good.
into our daily lives.
Okay, so it's not enough to just have these glimpses of a
Oh.
higher reality.
It's about bringing them back down to earth
Yeah.
and using them to create a more meaningful life.
Okay, so that's where those practical offerings come in.
Yeah,
The Plasma Light Tribe. The meditation, the energy healing.
Right. It's all about bridging that gap
Okay.
between the spiritual
Yeah,
and the material.
I see.
And finally,
Okay.
Kerry K's message of Ascension.
Okay.
It offers a really hopeful vision for the future.
Okay.
It suggests that we're not just like isolated individuals,
Yeah.
but we're part of something bigger,
Okay.
a collective awakening
Wow.
that can transform the world.
It's a powerful message.
It is, and it definitely resonates with me.
Me too, but
Yeah,
I don't know, I'm still a little hesitant about this whole Ascension thing.
Oh, yeah.
It almost sounds too good to be true.
I get it.
Like, is it really possible?
Yeah, and it's healthy to question these things.
Right.
Don't just blindly accept it.
Yeah. Use your critical thinking skills.
Exactly. But even if you don't buy into the whole Ascension idea,
Okay.
there's still a lot we can learn
Oh, yeah.
from Kerry K.
Like what specifically?
Well, for one, her focus on self-awareness and personal growth.
Yeah.
That's something we can all benefit from,
Yeah.
regardless of our beliefs. It's
Yep.
about understanding ourselves better
Yeah.
and growing as individuals.
And her message of hope
Oh, yeah.
and transformation.
Yes, huge.
It is, especially in the world today.
Right, with all the negativity.
Yeah, and division.
Exactly.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
It is. And even if we don't have this sudden collective shift,
Yeah.
we can all try to be
Okay.
more conscious, more
Yeah.
compassionate,
Yeah.
more connected.
I like that.
Yeah, and who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe those individual efforts
Yeah.
will create a more positive world.
I like that idea.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that change starts with us
Yeah.
and that even small actions
Right.
can make a difference.
That's a good point.
And it brings us back to that question we asked earlier about illness as a gateway
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
to a higher consciousness
Okay.
and how that changes how we think about.
Suffering and healing.
Right. That's a big one.
It is. And I don't think there's an easy answer,
Yeah,
but it's worth thinking about.
it is.
What if suffering wasn't just something to avoid,
Right.
but an opportunity for growth?
Wow.
That would change everything.
It would totally change our perspective
Yeah, and how we approach our own challenges.
and how we support others.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's profound.
It is. It really invites us to embrace
Okay.
the full spectrum of human experience.
The good and the bad.
Yeah, the light and the shadow.
And to see the potential for healing in every moment.
Exactly.
Okay, so with that in mind,
Yeah.
maybe we should shift gears a bit
Okay.
and look at some of the specific ways.
Yeah.
Kerry K suggests we can integrate these experiences.
Into our lives.
Yeah, like what can we actually do?
That's a great question.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Okay, so we've talked about illness as like this gateway
Right.
to a higher state of consciousness.
And how it can totally change how we think about suffering and healing and all that.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
It is, but like,
Yeah.
how do we actually integrate these experiences into everyday life?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's easy to talk about,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
but what does it actually look like?
Exactly, like in practice.
Right.
And I think that's something that a lot of people are struggling with
Yeah.
these days. You know, we're seeing this growing interest in things like
Okay.
mindfulness,
Yeah.
meditation,
Yeah.
energy healing.
Right. All these alternative approaches to like
Yeah.
well-being.
Exactly.
It's everywhere.
It is.
Why do you think that is?
I think it speaks to this like deep yearning
Okay.
for meaning
Okay.
and connection
Right.
that a lot of people are feeling.
Yeah, like we're living in crazy times.
We are. It's a time of like immense change
Yeah.
and uncertainty.
Totally.
And I think a lot of the traditional
Okay.
institutions and beliefs, they're just not cutting it anymore.
They're not giving people the answers they're looking for.
Exactly.
So they're turning to these alternative practices
Right.
to find purpose, meaning,
Yeah,
maybe even a sense of control.
totally. It's about finding something to hold on to.
In a world that feels chaotic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Kerry K's work really taps into that
Yep.
with her focus on spiritual awakening
Okay.
and the power of consciousness.
Right. Like it gives you a framework
Exactly.
for understanding what's
Set
happening
the path for personal growth.
and like a vision for the future.
Exactly.
And it seems to be resonating with a lot of people.
It is. She's definitely struck a chord.
She has. And she's created this whole system to support people.
Yeah.
Like she's got the online community, the courses, the individual sessions.
Right. She's not just talking about it.
Yeah.
She's providing tools.
Yeah, like a roadmap
Exactly.
for navigating this whole shift in consciousness.
And she's making it accessible
Yeah.
to so many people
through all these different platforms.
Right, podcasts, social media,
The backlog.
and the newsletter.
Yeah, you can tell she's passionate about this.
Oh, yeah, she's totally committed to
Yeah.
sharing her message.
So for our listeners who are like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm intrigued.
right.
Where do I start?
Where do they start?
Yeah.
Well, her website is a great place to begin.
Okay.
It's got links to everything.
Okay.
Her podcast interviews, blog posts, social media.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. And I'd recommend checking out those interviews first.
Okay.
They give you a really good sense of who she is
Okay.
and what she's all about.
And don't forget about that newsletter.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Free guided meditation.
Can't beat that.
Sign me up.
And if you want to go even deeper,
Okay.
that Plasma Light Tribe
Yeah.
sounds like a great community.
To connect with other people.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have?
We talked about Kerry K's journey.
Right from those childhood experiences.
Yeah. Going between dimensions.
To her work as a teacher.
Her perspective on illness.
Yeah.
Ascension.
Consciousness.
It's been a wild ride.
It has.
But it all comes back to this one question.
Okay, what's that?
If consciousness is the key
Okay.
to unlocking our potential and creating a better world,
Right.
what role do we play in that?
That's the question.
It's a challenge
Yeah.
to take responsibility for our own growth
To explore our own consciousness.
and to contribute to something bigger.
to make a difference.
Yeah.
Like we can all be beacons of light,
I love that.
illuminating the path for others.
That's a beautiful thought.
It is.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Kerry K.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning
Keep expanding.
your awareness.
Exactly.